Today's episode of the Bill Simmons Podcast is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Having a high sports IQ is important. Just look at the NBA lottery right now. You might have a top 10 pick, but if your GM doesn't know what he's doing or she's doing, you're screwed. Look at the Kings. They might trade that number 2 pick for God knows what. But when it comes to hiring, you don't need a high hiring IQ. Just ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful technology scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience for your job. 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. My listeners can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/BS. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Check out TheRinger.com. NBA draft is getting close. It's approaching. We did a podcast about it on Wednesday with Kevin O'Connor about the draft buzz. But stuff's changed since then. Kawhi Leonard might be available for the right draft pick right now. Who knows? News breaking. The NBA draft guide that we did has all of this stuff covered and more. Check it out. TheRinger.com. The Ringer's draft guide. And we also, Incredibles 2. We have stuff on that. World Cup. U.S. Open all weekend. It's the place to be. TheRinger.com. Coming up, Kyrie Irving, and then we're going to talk to Sean Fennessey about Hereditary after that. So first, Pearl Jam. All right, it's Friday afternoon, West Coast time. Just when you think the NBA gets quiet, stuff's always happening. 2 hours before Kyrie Irving comes in, Kawhi Leonard comes out, he wants to get traded. It just never ends. This is just the NBA now. It's 12 months a year, 365 days, stuff happening.
Yep.
You were part of this.
Yeah, NBA offseason.
Last summer, you were in the middle of it for like 6-7 weeks. When it's happening and you're in it, are you reading the tweets? Are you reading the stories? What are you doing?
You try not to, but it's coming in waves.
You can't help it?
Waves. Just the fans, the media, just in waves. It's coming. Because now you become the center of attention. And also the value you kind of notice, like how great you are as a player for like a good 6-7 weeks. Like teams are like
the fake trades.
Yeah, it's just the possibility of the mock trades, and it boosts the ego a little bit. So it's heck of a situation to be in, but hope for the best.
Does it boost the ego, or sometimes it's like, oh man, I'm worth more than that. Come on.
It could do both. It's a tough position to be in because at the end of the day, the speculation from everyone else of why you want to ask for a trade is going to come out. Stories of what you were doing behind the scenes and leaking, and just like it just becomes a mess. And at the end of the day, you just want to be happy playing basketball.
What really happened? What's really going on?
Mm-hmm.
The Kawhi thing is
piercing questions.
Yeah. Well, your thing was abrupt. Kawhi's thing was an all-year thing.
Yeah.
Where he didn't come back. Then something was clearly wrong. Then he was practicing away from the team. And then he didn't go to the playoff games and things like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt like this was building. The thing with you in Cleveland last year, I think people were like, what?
Yeah.
He's going?
Yeah.
And then I never actually thought the trade would happen. And then it happened to my favorite team. All of a sudden, my favorite team was one of the teams involved. I'm like, nah, this won't happen.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it happened.
Caught me a little off guard too. But I mean, I was happy that they pulled the trigger and they took a chance.
When you knew you wanted to get traded, did you have a list in your head of teams or situations? What were you thinking?
Yeah, I did, but ideally it was going to be up to the team regardless. So, I would like to think I had somewhat of a leverage point.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was going to be a business move for the Cavs, and in order for us to part ways, kind of respectfully.
What was the most important thing for you looking back a year ago? What was the first thing you wanted?
Just kind of being in a place where I could see myself for a few years, and kind of positioning myself with some other great players. That's when the texting and the calling starts happening. Hey man, like,
yeah,
you're trying to do this. And, the shift in the league of our generation is like, it's for me personally, I'm going to speak on kind of my viewpoint of it. It's like, we all want to play together at one point, whether that's now or later in our career, we kind of want to have fun playing with it. We all kind of spend time in LA or New York, and we all see each other. So it's cool when you can have like other great players on the team and other great teammates, and then you go for a championship. You know, we just want to be happy. I want to be happy, if anything. So
what do you consider your generation? Because it starts, you guys meet each other when you're like 12, 13, 14 at these AU things. So who's like in your class?
In terms of what? Like,
just like, who are the guys you grew up with that you've been playing against since you were 14? Like Kevin Love's 2 years older than you. Like Westbrook, Love, those guys are a little bit older than you.
I think K-Love's 3 years older than you, maybe. But I would say that
like Davis, is he a guy from?
Yeah, no, I've known AD for a little bit, but I would say, you know, kind of being being in that environment of high level basketball at an early age, meaning, you know, once I left Duke, you know, I was at the USA camp and playing against Kobe, Russ, you know, seeing AD play on the USA team and then playing with him in 2014.
Yeah.
You know, playing with James. And after a while, you know, I've been very fortunate to play on, you know, all-star games and stuff like that. So you start building relationships over time. So I didn't really know many people until I got into the league of, you know, this is high-level basketball, so why not build some relationships?
It's good to be you in those games because you have the ball.
Yeah.
The point guard's always the most important person in those games.
Yeah, for sure.
Ultimately, you're deciding who gets to shoot.
Yeah. But those guys are, you know, like I said, I've been very fortunate to play with some great players. So, you know, you kind of just, you can sit and stare at times too. They're just really great, you know.
I did a podcast with KD. I've done a bunch of them, but we did one last year after, I think it was right after you got traded or right when you, maybe before you got traded. And he was talking about Kyrie loves the ball. He doesn't want to do any of this. He doesn't want to deal with any of this other stuff. He just wants to know, here's my team. I don't have to deal with anything else. I just want to play basketball and work on my game and try to win basketball games. Is that an accurate assessment?
Oh, for sure. For sure. And it's like one of my close friends as well. So, you know, he definitely hit the kind of the hammer right on the head with that one. You know, I was appreciative that he even came out and said it because, you know, the appreciation I have for the game goes deeper than kind of what the lifestyle breeds sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, so it can get confusing at times. It can get cloudy just based upon, you know, kind of the responsibility you have as a professional athlete in the NBA and what you represent and your brand and stuff like that. And then, you know, your love for the game kind of gets squandered and all that sometimes. And, you know, you can see it. Some guys have lost passion for the game at times and they've had to, you know, deal with years of just kind of separating themselves or their down years. You know, that's not necessarily they haven't been working on their game. It's just the passion sometimes can get lost and you start making decisions and it can get really, really, really hard. You know? And mentally it's a test. So
did you feel like your skills had become underrated just because you're playing with LeBron, who's one of the 3 greatest players of all time, that some people kind of took it for granted a little bit, some of the stuff you were great at?
Not necessarily. I think that, you know, the authentic fans of basketball understood, you know, what I brought to the game. I think that, you know, playing with other great players of you know, and Katie said it the other day, of how to stand out within that, you know, and just make sure that your confidence and you're working on your game and you're showcasing it. You know, and inevitably you're playing with a great player like Bron. It's gonna be a lot, you know, and I feel like that right there is a testament of greatness of how you adapt to those situations, you know, instead of kind of, you know, willing away from the challenge of figuring it out and adapting and, you know, like why run away from it? So I went full force and just like took it by the head. And, you know, there are times it was really, really tough, really tough. But I mean,
what was tough about it? Just not having the ball all the time or just the spotlight that he brings?
No, I would say like you're being tested on the biggest stage in front of everyone, like all the time. All the time. I mean, like there was not a time where it was like the eyes wasn't on our team, wasn't on Bron, wasn't on me, wasn't on K-Love, like our team. It just, our organization, it was just like, I went from being in Cleveland to, you know, having kind of, you know, half the fans show up to now Bron comes back now. Every night is packed. Yeah. Every road game is like a, you know, somewhat of a home game for us. You know, you think about the media attention that comes with all of that and just the elevated pressure of like, okay, now it's championship or you fail. And, you know, then you got to figure out how do you fit in within this system. Like, basketball is a systemic game. So how do you build that strategy and how do you fit in with that? And it was tough.
I always call it the bullseye. And I think the Warriors dealt with this the last 4 years, and especially KD walked into it the last 2 years, where just night after night after night. I talked to Iguodala on the court after they won the title last week, and he was just saying, just never ends. It's like every day. Yeah. Social media, it's just day after day after day after day. Mm-hmm. There's this bright spotlight on you, and some guys get tired of it. Yeah, you know.
It's like we live in that day and age. Like
at least you get paid though. That part's good.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, but it just even
you
that
to fly
value,
on charters,
even that value of kind of building that, you know, like after a while, you're just like, all right, man, the game of basketball is really all I want to do and prepare every single day and work on my craft, you know, and have some fun with some great guys around. You know, as you get older, and I talk like you're
40.
I'm not, but it's just like, you know, I'm going on my 8th year now, and I've kind of experienced a lot within the league, and you know, it changes kind of your perspective a little bit over time. Like, I just want to be in a situation where I'm happy and going after championships rather than it feeling like it's a maniacal job every single day, dealing with different personalities and everything, just in general in a workplace. Like, you deal with that stuff, and you got to find your happiness within that.
Yeah, I was surprised when it became clear that you were available last summer. That you were weirdly underrated as a player. I felt like I was taking crazy pills because I was like, oh, he's worth this. He's one of the best 9 guys in the league. And people are like, well, actually, we have no idea if he can run a team. We don't know if he's a franchise guy. I was like, what are you guys talking about? guy hit the finals winning shot in a game 7. And I didn't understand it.
Yeah, no, it comes with it, man. The perception itself.
It was just weird.
I mean,
because I always judge basketball players. You know, I love going to the finals. I love when that spotlight gets super bright in those games and you can feel it in the arena. Mm-hmm. And it's just like certain guys step up. Mm-hmm. And I love the 2017 finals. I know it was only a 5-gamer, but it really did feel like it was you and LeBron versus KD and Curry and then everybody else. But it was toe to toe. And that series was closer than I think people realize.
Yeah.
If I was running the Cavs, I would not have traded you. I would have just taken you to dinner out every night and bought you iPhones and iPads and whatever. Just trying to make you happy. What do you need, Kyrie?
Oh my goodness, I appreciate that. But
I just thought you guys were really good last year.
Yeah,
Zach Lowe was saying that in the playoffs you were a top 5 offensive team like all time in the 2017 playoffs. You went against a Warriors team that had lost the year before and was super hungry and motivated. It was KD's first time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
and he played unbelievable,
and he was great.
Like, he was just. Him and stuff.
Could you identify with some of the stuff he was going through this year? Because he definitely was up and down, and it did seem like the season wore on him a couple times.
Yeah, I think that you know, kind of being on top of, I call it being on top of Mount Everest, like that climb. You know, that steady climb. It starts in the summertime, goes throughout the season. Once you get on top of Mount Everest, and you're standing there, the like, you're enamored with your personality. Like, people are just loving, like, you know, finals MVP, you know, NBA champion. And, you know, after that, it's like, so what's next?
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, oh, we have to do it all over again. And I have to now go through game 1 through 82 as if it holds a certain value to me. Like, it, you know, after you get there, you're like, whew, okay. That's what he was after. I mean, he was after winning a championship, being the best player on the floor, and he accomplished that. Now it's like, okay, what's next?
And people are going, and I think he thought when they won the title, it was going to relieve some of the shit he took, and it didn't. People are like, oh, you chased the title. And then he was like, really? Nah, I'm the finals MVP. I'm still taking shit. And I do think it affected him. I thought it affected him during the season.
But I think that he does an incredible job of kind of willing himself to those, like, even to those moments of showcasing why he is that great.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great to see as a fan of basketball. Like, I love playing against him, but I also love watching him. It's just, he has a presence about him that's like really unassuming, but he dominates games. And, you know, 30 plus is easy for him, but then you see him get 10 assists some games and 8 assists, and or you know, 14 rebounds where he had in the finals, or the game 4 where he had the triple double, and he's just like working on his craft. And I think that in itself was like, okay, I got the championship. Now I just want to work on my craft. And now, of course, our platform that we're inevitably on as athletes becomes like everyone just starts attacking like, no, you're not enough. You're not this, you're not that. And it's just, bro, like, just give it a break. Like, like seriously, bro, like give it a break. Like let it go, man. Like, yes, he's on an incredible team, but he's also the best player on that team.
Were you okay when he switched to them? What was your feeling?
Yeah, I was happy for him.
Yeah,
I was happy for him, man. At the end of the day, if you can control your experience, like he wanted that. So I'm not the one to be opposing in any way for that of someone making a decision for their lives, which is kind of why I was an advocate of why I when I came out with my trade, like no, I'm just trying to be in my own truth. I'm trying to figure out, kind of my life. You know, no disrespect to anyone else, but this was a decision I had to make for me.
Right.
And people, some people understand it, some people don't, but at the end of the day, it just really doesn't matter.
You mentioned at the top of the podcast, you were talking about your generation, how it's definitely, and I think it started with the decision in 2010 when LeBron went to Miami, and it's led to this decade of player empowerment.
Yeah.
And players being in control, and we're seeing it this weekend with Kawhi. Yeah. He's not a free agent yet. I call it I think he's a pre-agent.
A pre-agent?
Yeah, he's celebrating his pre-agency right now.
Yeah, no, I was talking to my best friend Alex earlier about this, and I was saying that when Bron did that in 2010, I think as a free agent to do that is like what he did was incredible, in terms of player empowerment. And then now you look at where players are now realizing their own value within the organization and what they bring to other teams, and now they're controlling it like as best you can, like not being disrespectful to the team, but now we're just open and honest about how we feel about our life outside of basketball and how it affects. And when there's a very, very smooth correlation between that, like life and then basketball, but it's pretty cohesive. So and now you see it like, no, I don't want to be in this situation anymore. Like, I actually want to be somewhere else, and I'm going to communicate that with you. And I know my value. I know that, if this is going to work, I have to part ways, and you just go about it. And now it's like, you don't have to wait until free agency to do that anymore. The team doesn't have to trade you, but it's like now you can communicate it. It's just, you want your team to be happy. So, you want your star player to be happy. And if he's not, then what are you going to do to fix it? And are you going to trade him away?
Do you think that's your generation though? You're a millennial. Are you an official millennial?
By the way, I love that word, millennial.
Are you a millennial? Or you might be too young to be a millennial. I can never tell what the age range is. But I think the fact that we get grouped as millennials, like from an older generation, is like, no, you guys are like, okay, we had the baby boomers, okay, we had the internet age and Generation X, and now we got millennials. Like, all right, guys, okay, we're just gonna group everybody as millennials. I think you're a post millennial.
I don't
even know.
I'm 26, so
regardless, your generation is used to.
Here we go.
This is good.
Talks.
You're gonna like this.
These talks.
I'm bringing this around. You're gonna be in on this. Your generation decides your entertainment value at all times. The streaming, whatever show you want to watch, you can watch it. If you want food, you just order from wherever it's gonna show up.
Yeah.
You have your phone. Just everything. I'm sorry, it's getting hot in here. Is one of the air conditionings on?
No, you're good. You're good. Don't worry about it.
Take mine off there.
You're good.
Whatever you guys want, you can basically like, all right, I want to do that. And it's available.
Accessibility.
And now it feels like that's trickled into the NBA in some ways, where people are like, I'm not happy here. I'd rather go there.
Yeah.
And then that happens. At the same time, as somebody who studied NBA history and wrote a book about it once, this has been the league the entire time. Like Wilt Chamberlain 50 years ago was like, I want to go to the Lakers. And they traded him to the Lakers. So I do feel like the league, the way it's built around stars. And if stars become unhappy or they start looking elsewhere, they start thinking about moving.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Yeah. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You see where I'm coming from.
Yeah, for sure. I do. And I'm with you. I agree. I think, but from the flip side is like, now it's becoming a little bit more consistent. Like where the communication, like using our specific platforms to communicate how we're feeling. I mean, everyone has a guy that they're like, hey, look, I'm not really necessarily happy here. And then someone else gets that information. It's like,
boom, it's off.
And now it's like, now it becomes a rumor, and now it starts trickling, like becoming a snowball effect in terms of what you want to make happen. It's the weirdest thing ever. It's very easy to manipulate if you run a website like theringer.com. Like Kawhi Leonard last month was at a Dodgers game.
We did a post. We had a picture of it. We did a post about it. Like, hey, Kawhi Leonard's at a Dodger game. It became a story.
See, that's a thing.
But all he was doing was going to a Dodger game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was sitting on the side where the Dodgers put their guests. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then we knew he went to San Diego.
Like, those details,
there's little layers to it.
Those details are like, it just become unbelievable. Like, this content is just crazy.
So when you go to Boston, the fans loved you immediately. And I don't think people realized how fun it was to have Kyrie Irving on their team game to game.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you'll do stuff every game. You get money's worth out of Kyrie. But what was really interesting to me, because I had never really watched you day in, day out like that. And obviously I love the Celtics. You leave like big scoring performances on the table. It's like, tell me if this is true. You'll know in the first quarter, you'll set the tone, you'll go by somebody once. And then it's like, all right, I know I can do that. And then you just kind of get everyone else involved, but you kind of keep it in your back pocket. You had games where I was like, he's going to score 70. And then you wouldn't shoot for 8 minutes. So it's like you kind of you feel the game out and you do what you need to do, but you don't feel the need to like dominate the game and get the hell out of my way. I'm shooting 35 shots tonight. You never do that.
No. But I can say that as I've evolved as a player, I think that the management of the game has become a little bit better because, you're going to need your teammates at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So in order to have them get a rhythm, I know that, okay, this is a particular player or defender I'm going against that I could take advantage of anytime I want. And,
right.
I could shoot this shot right here every single time down. But I have to make it easier for other guys as well. Like that management of the game has to just be easy for them. And that's what I've learned as being one of the players on the team, especially with Boston. Like we had young guys, they're just trying to do everything at once.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, like just ease into it. Like the game, it's a long game. It's a 48-minute game. That's an eternity, man. So like the first 6 minutes, I'll know like, okay, this is a big time. If it's a big time, high level game, I know I have to put my mark on the game right away just to set the tone. And then for the rest of the game, you just manage it.
Isaiah, this is my favorite thing about Isaiah Thomas. He'd get everyone else involved for 44 minutes and we had to take over the last 4.
For sure. That's the most fun.
Yeah. And the stats, it's funny because we're so stats obsessed now, and then people start comparing. They're like, oh, Isaiah Thomas, it's only 20 points a game during the 2 title runs. And it's like, yeah, but he could have scored 35 a game. Yeah. The whole point was he gave up the 15 points a game to the other dudes because he knew it was better for those guys. And he could always score when he wanted to.
The involvement.
And I did see signs from that from you last year. And you also had a young team. Hey, you lose Hayward in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And that was tough.
Yeah, you were affected even the next game. It took you like a week to shake that off, it seemed like.
Yeah, I just was pissed. I was pissed for our team and more or less for Gordon. You know what I mean? It was like he was just now starting to get a rhythm in preseason, and then, it was just tough. It was tough. And then I'm the one that threw the pass. So I was just like, for the alley-oop, and I was holding on to that for a while. I was just like, damn, bro. Like, because at the time, I'll take responsibility. Like I'll take part of the responsibility, but he wasn't really open. I saw D Wade over there, and then he came down like wrong. And I'm just like, oh, F. Like
I thought he got nudged that knocked him off balance too.
I just was like, man. And then I'm still sick about it. It just was like, man, because we had a really good training camp, a really good training camp, and the preseason games weren't even going to be the factor to determining how great we're going to be. I knew it from the first day. Yeah. Like, because the challenge of forming this team wasn't really hitting us. We had already come from different situations. Like Jaylen Brown didn't play last year as much, but he played in the Eastern Conference Finals. Marcus is coming up a year where we're playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. He has a big game against us, game 3. They win at home. Yeah. Terry comes in. Me and him don't necessarily expect to go against one another, but we're now teammates. And now the challenge of like, okay, I'm going against you every day. You're going against me every day. This is only going to make us better. Yeah. JT comes from Duke. Very, very talented. Going to be a superstar as well as our other young guys. But he was nervous about like, okay, where do I fit into all this? Like any other rookie. But he was just talented as shit. Like I'm looking at him. I'm like, bro, you do some things that I'm just like, they're Kobe-esque. Yeah. but he finishes around the rim really well, and he's athletic, and he has long arms. I'm like, okay, now how do I elevate him? Then when Gordon went down, the opportunity shifted to those guys. So my attention went to them, of just helping them develop that attitude, like, you got to be a killer every single night. Don't take anything for granted out here on the floor, and we'll be fine.
Tatum, by December, was like, wow, something's here. But he still didn't really even realize it in Game 7 of the Eastern Finals, when he dunked on LeBron and hit a 3 over him, and then didn't get the ball for the next 4 minutes because he's a kid. But it's all there. I mean,
the tools are there.
I am not worried about that dude.
The tools are there.
Yeah. I couldn't believe how well he did for how young he was. And plus, he hit the rookie wall, and it was like, all right, he hit the rookie wall. That's fine. We'll get some good stuff out of him sometimes, but we've seen this. And then after you got hurt, it seemed like he kind of regrouped. And then I thought he was really, he had no choice. He had to shoot at that point.
And Brad Brad is one of the most adaptable coaches that I've ever been around. He's just highly intelligent about the game, about life, and talking to him is always awesome. I just had dinner with him the other night, him and his wife and his kids, and talking basketball with him is just it's such a relief, you know, to have a basketball mind like that, an appreciation of the game. Like, doesn't forget plays, like knows when the shift in the game happens, and we were going over like things that could have been done differently this season, and it was a breath of fresh air talking to him.
He's so good on those out of bounds plays that I get mad when we don't score. I use we like I'm on the team. It's like, what do you mean? It's 8 seconds left. This is our time. Coming out of timeout. Who's getting a layup?
Guaranteed misdirection action for.
He's like a savant.
Yeah, for sure. But it's for the most random person too. Yeah, it's like Aaron Baines coming off a down screen for a mid-range jumper in the middle of the lane. And it's like nobody expects that. Right. Like, should have set a Chicago pick, or Al sets it for Baines, and Baines curls, and like if Baines isn't open, he goes into a dribble handoff, and it's just like, okay, now we play read and react game.
I loved what he did against Philly in the confetti game when he called the timeout after he saw what they were doing on defense to set up the lob for Horford under the basket. That was sick.
He adapts. Yeah.
What, compare and contrast him and Coach K?
Oof. There is no compare and contrast between those two. They're great individuals, so I don't even, But I think that I would say that Coach is also adaptable. I would say that that's something that they share. Coach is, when I came into school, Coach was talking about how I was gonna be part of it, and he's like, "Nah, you're gonna run our team. Yeah, like, you're part of the team, but you're gonna run our team. Like, you're a freshman. I was 18 years old. No, you're gonna run our team." And then we've just developed a great friendship over the years.
Do you feel like a Duke guy? Because how long were you there? Like 8 months?
Of course, man. Look at this. Look at this.
It was like
now.
you had like a cup of coffee there.
I mean, I may have stopped at Panda Express on campus a few times.
You wear Duke gear?
Yeah, of course.
Like, do you bet guys on the team during March Madness? Are you at that level?
Yeah. I mean, everyone likes to bring it up, but I would just say this is my argument. It takes others 30-some games, 60 games to get to the NBA. It took me 11.
Right.
Duke, I wore Duke on my chest. We were number 1 in the country. We were 8-0, and then get to the tournament and lose to Derek Williams and the Arizona Wildcats. I'm still sore about that.
You, Tatum, and then if they take Grayson Allen with 27, you have like a whole Duke side of the locker room. You just paint this side of it blue. Put a Coach K
Danny
picture up there.
For sure. Idolize Coach.
Quick break to talk about Gillette. Gillette started sponsoring sports almost 110 years ago. In 1910, they did an ad with Honus Wagner, John McGraw, Harry Davis, Hugh Jennings. All of them were plugging the Gillette safety razor. That's how long Gillette's been good. Honus Wagner even said, "I shave with a Gillette. I know of nothing that could induce me to change that decision." And now it's 2018. We have the Gillette 5 razor, 5-bladed razor lubrication strip. Provides great gliding performance with less irritations, 360 aqua grip handle. Make sure you have total control of your razor even when it's all wet. Gillette offers a variety of shaving products for every guy, regardless of his personal style, skin needs, or budget. And whether you want 3 blades or 5, the Gillette 3 and Gillette 5 razors have you covered. All under $10. That's high performance at a low price. Get Gillette performance delivered to your door. Find Gillette 5 at GilletteOnDemand.com. Subscribe today. What was it like sitting out the playoffs and then watching them make a run?
So, it sucked, man. It sucked.
Because you have to be a supportive leader, veteran guy, but at the same time, you want to be out there.
For sure. So it like absolutely sucked. And, you know, I can't even sugarcoat it. It was tough. Not from like kind of watching the guys, but of what I was dealing with outside of that. Like I was leaving the games at halftime because I had 8-hour shifts of antibiotics that I had to take for my infection. I had a PICC line in my arm, you know, for 2 months. And I'm just like, every day is like, okay, you know, I can't necessarily lift. I can't run. I can't do anything. If I didn't have my kind of PICC line in for my infection, then I would have definitely gone after trying to be ready for at least the Eastern Conference Finals.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. But the infection was just, I had no, like I got 2 surgeries in a matter of, I think it was a 3-week span. I got the screws taken out, then I had to take out everything completely. I got the wiring taken out first, and then I got the screws taken out.
So you felt, you were playing, you felt just a constant agitation.
Yeah. I felt like my body was kind of rejecting the screws at a point. And
interesting.
Yeah,
probably because it had the infection, right?
Yeah. It just was like, my body was just like, okay, the screws have, you know, I was talking about my body as I know it. And it's just like, after a while, my body was just telling me like, bro, what are you doing with this metal in your body anymore? Like it served its purpose. I'm healed, but now it's like, it's just getting in the way of you just being completely healthy. So
they took the screws out and they found that the area was a little infected and was actually dangerous to you.
Yeah. Really dangerous. Really dangerous.
So what, if they hadn't taken the screws out, what would have happened?
I would have just had,
you just would have felt like crap?
Yeah. Like crap. And it just got worse. Like I started to have some muscle deficiencies and or atrophy, in my left quad, just because my leg just started to shut down. It just was, you know, after a while I couldn't do it anymore.
So how do you feel now?
I feel good now. Yeah. I mean, I feel like me. You know, before I knew I had screws in my knee. Now I'm just like, okay, I'm screwless.
I have some friends with the Celtics. I have some friends with the Celtics, and I was envisioning this Willis Reed scenario for you in Game 7. I was like, no, he's gonna play, right? He'll be all right. And they're like, no, that infection's bad. He's not playing. No. There's no chance. It was the same thing with Hayward. It was like, Hayward could come back in round 3 earlier. They were like, no, he's not coming back.
Hey, he
broke his ankle. He's not coming back.
Even Gordon with his plate, being taken out. I think, you know, it's just tough to have like metal in your body for a while. You know, when I got it, the doctor was like, okay, this may be in for a few years. And then it was like, after 2 years, it was like, this is done.
Yeah.
So
would you say it was a mistake not to do it last summer? If you had to do it over again?
I didn't, it wasn't as bad last summer. Like I didn't really, it didn't affect me as much. You know, then in the beginning of the season too, as well, I had maybe a little bit of pain and then it would be good.
Yeah.
And it would come back and then, you know, and then I would have to deal with it. And some games I just played, you know, with it just being the way it was, hurting, but you know, I didn't really mind. I was just focused on kind of, like there was a lot of vengeance that I had in my in my mind, just of just, I want to play great. I want our team to be great. I want to go into the playoffs like with our team being great. I want to really go after this. And then when I came back from All-Star break, I think I played maybe 5 games. I came out firing, like I was just. And then I got to Houston. Yeah, that Houston game, and after that, I was like, that
was a great game.
Yeah, it was. But I wasn't even feeling it. Like I wasn't even feeling the game. Like I was so focused on my knee that I was like, and I hate that type of you know, kind of performance from me in a big game like that. Like going against Houston, there was a possibility that we could have been playing in the finals, and it was like, man, I want to play great tonight. And, you know, it's fucking quiet 18 points, and I'm just like, man, I wanted to destroy them. Yeah, but my knee just I wasn't going for it.
What's the best stretch of your career that you've had? Last 3 games of 16 finals?
The best stretch?
Yeah, where you just felt like you're at the peak of your powers.
I've yet to feel that.
Oh, I like that. I like hearing that. You're on the Celtics.
Yeah, I have yet.
This is great.
I have yet to feel that. Like the championship run was incredible, but I have yet to feel.
You did have 45 in Game 5, right?
41.
41.
Yeah, that was fun.
Game 7 finals. coming out of the timeout and they get the shot's going to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's going to you. What are you thinking?
Make the shot. First and
Are
foremost,
you like,
but
I'm making this, or I hope I make this, or is everything blocked out? What's the mental process? Because that's a pretty big spot.
yeah, it was just calm. It was calm, man. It was calm. Either way, make or miss, I was going to be cool with the result. It just was actually just stepping up and taking it. I'd taken that shot, since I've been 16 years old, kind of right, hezzy, step back, going to my right hand, and it creates enough distance between me and the defender to get the shot off. It's a little fade to the right, but my angle to the rim was just perfect. It was just knock it in.
Can you work on your traveling this summer? Traveling is now in. Harden takes 5 steps when he takes a 3 now. I think you need to add that. Can you add 2 more steps on the step back?
I don't know.
Have you seen what Harden does now?
Yeah.
And apparently it's still not a travel.
No,
he's gathering
I don't think
the ball.
it's a travel. I don't think it's a travel.
Well, because he's gathering the ball, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, but it was like he's at the point now, James is at the point where he doesn't even see the defender anymore. Like, it doesn't matter who's on him. Like, that space but he creates with his step back, he like lines up the ball. Like, he just takes his step back and just like literally just like, I'm 6'6".
Yeah.
I'm an incredible shooter now.
I can go by you, or I can shoot this.
Yep. And also he conserves energy. Like, it's so much easier to get to 30 with 5 threes than to get to 30 taking all 2s and mid-range jump shots.
Right.
Like,
and
you know what I mean?
hole.
Like, yeah, I think he would have attempted 8-9 threes a game.
Yeah.
So you shoot, 36%, 36 to 40%, you shoot 9 threes. You can live with those odds.
Who's the worst guy to get switched onto?
The worst guy?
Yeah, for you, where you're like, oh God.
I mean, switching on to bigs is like
that's
like, I love the challenge, but I usually come out of that situation a little bit more hurt than when I went in. Like, I like just like, yo, I'm about to bang with him. I'm about to give him.
Yeah.
I'm about to show him that I'm actually pretty strong. And then when they just put like one elbow in your chest, or like they just back their backside into you, and you just like, you got to take that first initial hit. Like the first one's cool, and then the second one's just like, what am I doing down here? Like, get the hell out of here, man. Yeah.
LeBron had some moments like that when he'd have a small guy switched on. Like, a couple times Marcus would try to reach in, and LeBron would just get mad, and he would just like flex his shoulder. So the next time it happened, all of a sudden
Marcus
he's
is
a brick
really
wall.
strong too.
Yeah.
Marcus is really strong.
I actually
but
thought
it's
Marcus
just
did a pretty good job on LeBron. He's just 6 inches shorter than him.
Yeah.
But
he makes it tough. He makes it tough. He's an incredible defender.
What was it like to have Marcus Smart as your teammate for an entire year?
It was
He's a beloved Boston athlete.
No, I know. He just does things for your team that you're just like, when he came back and the first thing he did when he got in was dive on the floor after
Right.
he's just been out for a month and some change after getting thumb surgery. Like,
He's got a splint on his
that
hand.
in itself is like, but he's on my team. Like, you know what I mean? You got to love that type of effort. And, he adds like a versatility for our team. So
There was a lot of guys on that team last year, and hopefully this year too, that just kind of connected with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Morris.
when he gets that one offensive rebound in traffic and then flies back and gets a 3-point play and goes flying into the basket support, like, people would just get fired up, and like when you would go on your little runs, and I don't know, I thought the crowds were like especially good this year.
They were incredible.
And they were really helpful.
The fans are incredible. Too. I mean, thinking about the Houston game, we were down by 26.
Yeah.
2 refs out there, and like after a while, the fans, it got to the point where we were never out of a game like ever. We were ever, even on the road, but more or less at home. Like, we used to go on 10-0 runs in the final 2 minutes being down 16, like, and the crowd just erupts. They're like, oh, we've had a chance this whole game. I'm glad you guys stepped up your effort. Let's reward them by just giving them everything we have. And, so.
Yeah,
cool.
you could feel it in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some special Celtics teams over the years, but what happened? I mean, after you got hurt, it was just like, oh yeah, all right, we're gonna probably lose in round 1. Maybe Brad will pull off a miracle, and then all of a sudden,
not with our
it's
coaching
3-2
staff.
in the Eastern Finals.
Not with our coaching staff and not with our players this year. they did an incredible job. Our matchups they're scary for teams. Really, really scary.
Well, think about next year.
Yeah. Like really, really scary. No team is like, because not only in terms of our defense, but offensively, we have guys that can create off the dribble other than kind of me, Terry, or Marcus. Those our wings are just, they're incredible.
What's cool about next year's team is how flexible the lineups are.
Mm-hmm. I do it in 2K all the time.
3 guards, you can do,
Yeah, I do it in 2K all the time.
You play the Celtics in 2K?
Yeah, for sure. I don't pick anybody else.
I appreciate that.
Anybody else. Nobody else. The starting 5 is me, JB, Gordon, JT, Al. Second 5, Marcus. I'll leave Terry. I'll leave JB or JT in there. I'll leave Gordon in there, and then I'll throw Baines. And then
so you like the 8-man rotation?
It's 8-9 man, 8-9 man rotation. We'll have a pretty solid guy at the 27th.
Yeah,
pick.
it was funny hearing people be like, "Well, what's going to happen next year when Hayward comes back?" I'm like, we'll play Tatum, Brown, and Hayward together. What's the problem?
We did it.
We'll switch on defense, and it'll be great.
They like, it's scary. It's scary how good.
You're fired up for this year. You got to get through all this Uncle Drew promotion, and then we need you in some remote high school gym in Southern California, just working on your game. When can you start playing again?
Like a month.
So when you're not playing, do you feel like a void? Does it feel weird?
No.
You're not one of those guys like, oh, this is my quiet place.
No. What I would say is that from the another perspective is that when I was injured and I was home, I got to really, really develop other interest and sell kind of really, really dive into some of my passions that I have. So
like what?
Like just appreciation of art, trying to create my business. Kind of watching. I fell in love with just watching CNBC. I think that is one of the most hilarious channels. It really is funny to watch them go crazy over like just companies and what the market is doing. It's like funny. Like it's like this just in. Pepsi just they're trying to reach millennials in terms of consumer and beverage, and they're in competition and they're trying to grow. And it's just like, well, welcome in so and so from Goldman Sachs is going to speak on what they're investing in. It's just like. It's just all day though. Power lunch is one of my favorites. So I just literally should just turn it on in the morning and just leave it on all day. So yeah.
Do you like the earlier NBA schedule?
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden it's like September and everything's going again.
Yeah. There is a demand for it. So I don't mind giving that to the fans.
Yeah.
There's a demand for the game of basketball. There's a demand to see great players on the floor. You get to see us 82 times a year. So, and then including the playoffs.
What's your ideal schedule? 75? 70?
No, man, probably like 2 college seasons, probably like 60.
60?
60.
I don't think the owners will go for that.
No. Like I said, there's too much of a demand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, people love basketball right now.
For sure.
Did you watch the finals? Are you watching it like a fan? And
it was like I watched it as a kind of as a critic, and then as well as a fan of kind of both teams. So it was just, man, it was an interesting finals to say the least.
What was your reaction when JR forgot the score? Having played with him for years. I mean, and LeBron as well.
Like shit happens, man. Like, it just shit happens sometimes. In that type of environment, of course, it was gonna be like the biggest thing ever. Like, what could have happened in those 4 seconds? Could you have put up a floater? You start putting all the scenarios and all the pressure on. Like, what if? Like, people love doing that shit all day. Yeah, that's what our society is like built on all the time. Like, it's just like, what if? What could? Should have happened?
That's one of my favorite things to do.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And then like you draw emotion to that. And then like people just start kind of having their own like perception of it. It's just like, but at the end of the day, like shit happens, bro.
The clip didn't help of LeBron on the bench reacting and then sagging back with the hands over his head. No, but it did seem like that killed them going into the OT. I went to the game and you could feel like.
Did they score?
I think the Warriors won the OT by 10.
Yeah.
It just felt like it took LeBron out. I've never seen LeBron angrier ever. Because he was so mad about the call, he's mad about JR, and then he pinned the Steph shot at the end on the backboard and then was like talking shit to him, which he usually doesn't do.
Mm-hmm. It was emotionally.
He's very aggro.
Yeah, emotionally, emotionally in the finals is just, it's the biggest stage. Stage. So you make one mistake on there, you say one misquote on there, and they're killing you for it. They're just killing you for it.
Do you like the press conferences? Are you amused by them?
Amused?
Yeah, because it's basically 9 out of every 10 questions are going to be awful. And you have to sit there and pretend and just not be sarcastic and pick them apart. No comment?
Glad the NBA does a great job showcasing us.
Oh, that's a great answer. You're really good at this. You might have to get your own CNBC.
Redirect.
You should get your own CNBC show someday.
Redirect. But I think it's just like, it just becomes entertainment. There's too much of it. Like this, Draymond said about this about Tristan. Tristan said this about Draymond. It's like, bro, give it a break. It's just the finals.
People eat it up.
It's just the finals, man. Like, just who cares? Like, we just want to see you guys play. Like, just play the game. All that personal stuff can go out the window. We have a winner, we have a loser. Everybody goes home. Okay? One team celebrates, one team goes home and makes off-season moves.
Yeah.
So, it's just like the off-season started. Once the game was over, off-season started. Who's signing an extension? Who? And like, it's just like the Warriors just won the chip.
The off-season started. The off-season started today with this Kawhi story. We had about
the off-season.
We had a week.
The off-season started at All-Star break.
What does that mean? Oh, with the texting and the
All-Star break,
the buttering up.
Yeah, All-Star break. It started.
So you're a believer
in what?
In the players. Hey man, hey, what about this summer?
No, I think we all have great relationships. Redirect. Can't keep. I don't want to get caught for tampering or.
All right.
It's tough. It's a tough life out here, Bill.
Celtics are the number 2 favorite next year.
Are we?
Yeah. 6-1.
Oh, you already looked it up?
I look this stuff up all the time. This is what I do.
6-1?
Yeah.
You taking
the
that?
Lakers climbed to 6-1 this week just because of the rumors that LeBron was here looking for schools with his kids. So that's happening too. And now the Kawhi thing as well. Yeah.
Man, this is going to be intense.
LeBron, Kawhi, blank. That's a contender.
Or also forgetting about Paul George.
Well, that's what I mean. Paul George, or maybe somebody we're not thinking of yet. So that's the thing. You never know. Nobody knew you were available in mid-June last year, and then all of a sudden you were available.
Yeah.
So I always feel the biggest thing is the shorter contracts. I think that's why there's more movement.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, you think about 15, 20 years ago, like Jalen Rose, he signed like a 7-year, $100 million deal or something in Indiana.
Yeah.
And he's there for 7 years, or they're in control of trading him. But the way you guys have rigged it now, it's basically like LeBron has been the smartest of all. It's like just constantly running it back 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year. So he has more power.
Mm-hmm. Tell you that value that us as players have really, really just figured out. Like, we know where we add value. We know kind of how great we are as players, and how do you work with management to ultimately win a championship or win multiple championships, go after year after year. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, first comes first is be happy. Like I said, that's the main reason. Like, I feel, I'm so supportive of players kind of doing what they want to do. Like, if that's your happiness, bro, go after it.
It's an amazing generation of players. I have talked about this on the podcast before, but when I was growing up, especially the younger guys were really hit or miss. And some of them couldn't handle either their first big contract or the attention or just the pressure of playing. And then you went through the 80s and drugs were a big issue in the 80s. Then you went to the 90s and guys are 19 getting $80 million contracts. They're just handling it badly, like the hip hop generation. Then the LeBron generation comes in, and now everybody handles their business well. Like I was talking to Donovan Mitchell at the finals. The guy's like, he's 35 years old. Yeah. And he's 22. Tatum's the same way. Tatum already knows how to be boring in interviews. He's not going to say anything. No. But it's this whole generation. I think they learn from the LeBron, Wade, Bosh generation of like kind of how to handle their business. That's my theory. Yeah. So you agree with it?
I agree with it. I think that we all try to individually create our own, like we all try to be a trailblazer one way or another.
Yeah.
In terms of how we view our business, the opportunities that we're afforded. How do we take advantage of that? I don't think necessarily, athletes are just trying to position themselves with just a brand as just getting paid for it. Now, you start looking into the deal itself. Like people are looking for equity. Like we actually want to be part of this if we're going to try to grow this business for you. Like you can use my likeness, you can use who I am. It comes with a lot, but the value I'm adding to this is just a lot more than just maybe here, take this X amount of money to promote this brand. Cool. But now it's like on the back end, like what am I actually getting from it? Like what are we getting from each other?
So you want to cut from 2K basically. You want an extra tip? You're one of the most fun 2K guys. Is there anything they got wrong with your 2K character? Is there anything that they could have added that you don't have? Is the hezzy correct?
My hair, man.
Oh, the hair. You don't like the hair?
They gave me like I was losing my hair and like in the back of my hair. Like, I'm just like, bro, I'm not losing my hair. Like, so I think, and then also they like completely disrespected me, like in terms of giving me a 90. I was just like, bro, how am I going to be the cover athlete? And then I'm a 90. I was like, come on, man. Then they, after a while I told them I was going to work for it. And then now I'm a 93. So I was cool.
Yeah. You could go a little higher than that.
I'm humbly at 93. I don't mind it. I just would love to be over 90. I was hovering around the 89, 90.
They give you the 100 handle, I bet.
For sure, you have to. That handle, I mean, come on now.
When did you start working on the handle? What age? Like 6?
I've been dribbling since I was 18 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Your dad?
I didn't really start I didn't start getting creative with it until maybe high school. I always had I tried to emulate Allen Iverson's crossover, but instead of left to right, right to left. And then I just started kind of working on combinations, and it just took off from there.
Yeah, because watching you, especially during some of the more boring games, it seems like you were experimenting in the game.
Yeah,
like going
fun.
to the rim and be like, I know this could be conventional, but I'm going to do a double pump lefty instead to see if this goes in.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Why not? This is what the game is for. I know I get that probably the situation may not be right all the time in terms of trying it, but like, I think that's kind of what separates me is like, all right, cool. We can have the normal stuff, the mid-range pull-up, but then, hey, let's throw like a little post-up, like fade, shimmy, going baseline, shooting over the side of the glass. Or let's get this bank shot going left, like floater from like the free throw line.
Right.
Like just try it. Like I practice it, so why not try it?
Yeah, Curry seems like he does that too sometimes.
Yeah.
He's like, I wonder if I can make this. He's like, you're 37 feet away from the basket. And then
he
it goes
knows
in.
He can make it though.
Yeah.
It's like he confidently shoots that because he practices it. He works on it. I mean, he shoots half-court shots before his warm-up. That's ridiculous.
Right.
Like I've never seen
and he has
shooter.
A crowd.
I mean,
and the guy who passes those balls to him for the shots is like kind of a celebrity at the games.
Mm-hmm.
The guy with the beard.
Mm-hmm.
He throws perfect chest passes right at Steph's nipple. Just gets it perfect, right in the same spot every time.
Clearly, you've been watching this.
I was watching the finals. I was like, this is one of the best free shows we have. Steph shooting like 30-footers routinely. That guy said he made 77
threes
in a row.
I believe it. He's an incredible shooter.
The Celtics said that they were surprised how much, from a personality temperament standpoint, you reminded them of KG. Was one of the notes I heard through the grapevine.
Yeah.
That you were very hands-on, very emotional in a good way about just getting stuff done correctly and right. And
not really talkative in terms of kind of what people asked about what was going on our team, because I didn't think that was necessarily important for everyone to know. But yeah, just forming our identity. That was one of the most important things in order to go after championships, is forming that identity in order to go after something that's bigger than yourself. And, when you have guys that are kind of willing to listen, it makes it a lot easier. Those guys wanted it. So, they wanted me to be hands-on. So it was easy for me to do it.
Did you know you wanted that? Because at Cleveland, obviously LeBron's deciding everything. And part of being the best guy on a team is only one guy gets to kind of decide all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. But I think that narrative is like, it just itself that, kind of that thinking is just outdated. Like,
okay,
it's just outdated now. Like, because, of course the best player, it should have that responsibility, but like And then it becomes, we blame everybody else if it's not, a success for that best player. Like it's just like, just let it go. You know what I mean? Like everyone shares a responsibility within winning and losing. So, don't have the responsibility put mainly on, him. And then, when it falls, it's like, okay, he falls with me and his teammates. Like, just like in it, I think it's just a little outdated. That's all. Like, because we all are showcasing our talents one way or another. We're sharing this responsibility to win a basketball game. If we've come up short, we all must take responsibility. That's all I've tried to do in my career.
Yeah.
Even if I have to take majority of the blame, it's like, cool. But, my teammates, even in wins and losses, I still have to elevate them. Still have to give them that confidence. Still have to echo that I believe in them.
How long did you film Uncle Drew for?
A month and a half in Atlanta.
And you were in prosthetics and playing basketball?
Yeah, it was hot as shit out there.
How many hours of prosthetics?
Sometimes it would be 16-hour shoot days.
In Atlanta?
Yep.
That sounds like torture.
Yep.
How heavy were the prosthetics?
Heavy.
God.
Yeah. Intense, bro. I mean, intense.
How long did it take to get off?
I ripped it off. I used to rip it off. Like I like, because we'd be playing basketball, or we'd be kind of in a nursing home, or be in the club dancing, and it was like it just got really hot. It got really hot, but I was well worth it though, because I got to kind of like work on kind of my language a little bit with the ladies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Like if you could fall, like if you could fall for Uncle Drew. If you could fall for Uncle Drew, if I could talk to a female with Uncle Drew makeup on, bro, I'm living it. I'm living it. Like if I could talk, and even though they knew it was me underneath, but just Uncle Drew talking to like a female, like, yo, wearing an all velour suit. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be weird if you're going to bars 2 years from now dressed as Uncle Joe. What made you want to be a star of a movie? I didn't really want to. It just like happened. It started as like an internet short kind of series, and then elevated to a commercial, and they were like Lionsgate and Temple Hill, and Jay Longino wrote kind of the storyline, the narrative, then Charles Stone III directed it, and I was like, boom, you're our lead. And that was it.
I was just like, okay, this is a real thing. Like, this is a real thing. Like, it took me a while to really come to terms with, I have a freaking movie coming out. Like, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're focused on getting better as an athlete, and then like, no, I actually have to promote this movie. Two different sides of the spectrum. Like, I'm talking to living arts media outlets about my acting.
Did you study up on the history of NBA players as lead actors in movies? Because it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
That was my childhood. Was Dr. J and Fish That Saved Pittsburgh.
My dad told me to watch
King
that.
And Fast Break.
My dad told me to watch that. Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. Ray Allen and He Got Game.
Epic.
Eddie had a lot of dudes.
Epic. Yeah, no. One of my favorite
Eddie and Malik
movies.
Sealy was really good in Eddie. I liked Eddie. I ride for Eddie.
Was that Whoopi Goldberg?
Whoopi Goldberg comes out of the stands and saves the Knicks. Yeah. It's terrible, but it's great.
I just remember that one scene when she got on the airplane and was like talking to the team.
Yeah.
I remember that scene.
They used all NBA players in the jerseys, which is kind of crazy.
That she got that like to be done.
Like the NBA endorsed the movie.
And then of course you got Space Jam.
Yeah.
Like that was also good seeing Michael.
Blue Chips those guys weren't in the NBA yet, but Shaq and Penny.
I thought that was epic. That was like legendary for the amateur culture.
Yeah.
Like amateur basketball culture.
Above the Rim didn't use anybody. They used Dwayne Martin. I don't know. I think he might have played for like a year in the NBA, but they didn't have like the, Tupac obviously was.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was incredible.
So you have high hopes for this movie, it sounds like.
Yeah, for sure. I'm like, now I'm starting to turn into the exciting part of it.
Yeah.
This is like, we're getting towards the date. The promotion itself is really, really epic. I get to kind of experience different avenues within kind of the film realm. and just talk about, things other than basketball all the time. So it's like, it's cool, And then of course my cast, like they're awesome. About to leave here and go do a kind of a video capture with them, and it's just exciting. It's a different feel.
Yeah.
Like it's like cool, know you play for Boston, but like, what the hell are you doing in the acting world?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here? I was like, just a lead actor in a movie coming out. So yeah.
So you'll do it again, it sounds like.
If there's a sequel, then I definitely would. Definitely would. My strength and conditioning coach, Robin Pound, though, would absolutely say no. Absolutely say no, though.
Were you surprised your shoes became as popular as they did? Like my son, who plays basketball, like the Kyries were like the shoes to get if you were 10 years old in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
They were like a thing.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Are the shoes cool, or is it cool to say I have the Kyries, or is it you, or is it all combination of all those things? Because I was asking him, and he's like, I just like the shoes, and I like how he plays.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. I was just being authentic, man. Like in terms of also having that connection to the youth
It seems like you do have that connection.
Yeah. Because I
plus the 2K thing helps, I think.
The 2K thing helps, as well as kind of, I would say, my personality onto it as well, and also where I get my inspiration from. It's really comes from that 10-year-old place of being in my backyard or being with my dad and being in intimate settings and learning the game of basketball, but while still developing other interests outside of that. And then just releasing like really dope colors. Like the aesthetics on the shoe are, we start out as like kind of like this blank shoe, and then I just come in, chop it up.
Yeah. Oh, so you have real input on it.
Yeah. That's what I'm, yeah. You can tell. I mean,
well, I never know with this stuff. I never know if people pretend to have the input or they actually have the input.
No, my meetings are like, I run my Nike meetings. Like if it's my name on it, then I'm definitely running the damn meeting. Like, hey, like I love what you guys are doing here, but here we go, let's do it here. And then I have an incredible relationship with Nike, so they give me the freedom to be me.
So when you have the Kyrie Irving podcast on The Ringer, you're gonna run that. You're gonna run the meetings when we have the show meetings and stuff. You'd be good at podcasts.
Maybe in the works.
That's bullshit. Come on, Tommy.
Maybe in the works.
Be good. We'd be on the road. We'll send you some mics. You and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's a smart dude.
Really smart.
Yeah.
Really smart. He is one of the most interesting people to talk to.
I'm really interested to see what happens with his life over the next 15 years. Because I do think, especially as his profile gets bigger and the Celtics are good, all that stuff, like I do think he'll use his platform in ways that guys don't normally use them.
For sure. Agree? For sure.
And you got to tell Tatum he's got to shoot more next year. You got to do the Isaiah next year. You just got to do the 89 Pistons Isaiah. You just get your 19 a game, but take over when they need you and just get the shots for everybody.
Bill,
you're going to be like the dad. You're going to be like the dad at the table, like you have to divide up the food, the mac and cheese.
It's my favorite food, by the way. No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a challenge, though, which is what I'm most excited about. Because now you go from being able to kind of make some mistakes, and now like our expectations from everyone are just going to be totally different.
People are picking him in the title, assuming everybody comes back healthy, and Danny doesn't make a crazy trade. Who knows with him? He loves trading.
He's Danny.
He'll trade anyone. He doesn't care. Why you got people all excited? By the way, when you talk, or not, I guess excited is not the wrong word. Scared when somebody asks you about what was happening in a year, and you're like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen a year from now. Yeah, you can't do that in Boston. People are too crazy. It's hot there now. They're crazy people.
I couldn't be anything but truthful. So
you really don't know. You're just thinking year to year.
No, I have to. That's where my focus is, because I know that question is going to come up a lot, and I'm doing my best to really just redirect like that attention towards what we're able to accomplish next year. So that's all I'm focused on. Like it would be great to like, I'm doing this for sure, but you just don't know.
If you sign with the Knicks, I'm canceling the Kyrie Irving podcast on the Ringer Podcast Network.
How do you
It'll
know
be
I'm
a
going to the
short
ringer? How do you
relationship.
know I'm going to the ringer?
I don't know. Just saying. If I'll be very upset. Maybe I won't cancel it, but I might doctor the tapes a couple times.
You going to delete our podcast?
I'll delete the archives. Kyrie left. Screw this. Good luck with the movie. Good luck with the knee.
Thank you.
I'm glad everything's well. Thanks for coming on. I'm glad we finally did this.
Appreciate it, Bill.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, if you're like me and you're not so great at planning ahead, I've got some good news for you. Our friends at Hotel Tonight have an awesome app that helps you find amazing hotel deals at the last minute. Book next week tonight or book next month tonight. All it takes is 10 seconds, 3 taps and a swipe. No long, endless list of a zillion hotel choices. Hotel Tonight only shows you the best deals at the best hotels. Perfect whether you're a planner or like to leave things to the very last minute. I've used it for multiple youth soccer tournaments in various parts of Southern California, as you've heard me discuss many times. With Hotel Tonight's HT Perks program, the more you book, the better the deals get. Unlike other loyalty programs where you're trapped into staying at boring chain hotels, start scoring amazing deals instead at incredible hotels. All you have to do is download the Hotel Tonight app right now. All right, I'm here with Sean Fennessey. Next week, Sean and I are doing Forrest Gump for the rewatchables.
Hell yeah.
You people voted for it. It's not our fault. And guess what? We love doing it, and we defend Forrest Gump.
Turns out it's good.
Spoiler alert, Forrest Gump's a good movie. Want to talk about Hereditary?
Yeah.
Which I finally saw this week. I went with my my wife and my 13-year-old daughter.
That's really terrifying that you did that.
Yeah, guess what? It didn't freak the living hell out of me or anything like that.
But what about Zoe?
She was fine. She covered her eyes for the last 20 minutes, so that helped.
Okay.
But
what was your thinking here? You were like, I want to mess with her tonight?
No, she wanted to go. She's seen The Conjuring.
The Conjuring? The Hereditary is so different from The Conjuring. I like The Conjuring, but I mean, come on.
I didn't think it was as horrifying as everybody seemed to think. To me, it was more like The Shining level of scary, where not a lot happened.
Yes, but
my kids love The Shining.
Movies like The Conjuring, which I really love, don't stick with you the way that movies like The Shining do. The Shining embeds itself into your DNA and it fucks with you for a long time. And I do think Hereditary is one of those movies that there are images in it that will just stick with you. And so you may have exposed your 13-year-old daughter to awful, awful things.
Nah, she's fine.
Okay.
I think The Shining's actually scarier, and nothing in this movie is as scary as Scatman Crothers getting the axe.
I agree.
Which is just terrifying.
But I mean, what an amazing testament to Hereditary that we're even making that comparison. The Shining is one of the darkest, most troubling, most fascinating movies ever made.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like, I think that the reaction to this movie, which I saw, I think in March, and I told you when I saw it, I was like, you're going to want to see this. It's a big deal if you care about horror movies. Is interesting because there's a long hype train that leads up to these movies now where people like me are like, oh, you got to see the scariest movie in years. It's crazy. Not since XYZ have you been this scared. And then people's expectations get really high. And then they come out of the movie and they're like, okay, I wasn't scared. That wasn't that scary. And it messes with the power of the movie. Like, in 1980, it was a little bit easier to show one trailer for The Shining, and then you didn't see it or really even hear about it until you got in the theater. And so we're in a weird expectation game now with movies like Hereditary.
I was really proud of myself. I read nothing. I stayed away from everything and knew nothing about what it was about. So we're about to spoil the movie. So if you don't want to... Actually, wait, you can keep listening for a couple more minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll spoil the movie. So there's a twist about 40 minutes in. I actually didn't know that twist was happening.
Yes.
And I was really happy because if you read the reviews, everyone spoils that twist in the reviews.
Unfortunately, we did as well in our review.
Yeah. But I think when something happens in the first 30 to 35 minutes, I think it's
really hard to write about the movie if you don't write about this event.
Yeah.
So I think almost every review identifies it. And it's also because of the way that the movie was sold, because one of the characters in the movie who is like really forward facing in the trailer, you think is going to be the center of the movie and then becomes not the center of the movie.
Yeah.
And, that's a big deal when you're telling a story like this.
Toni Collette is really good in it.
What do you think about the Oscar conversation around her?
I'm all in.
You believe it?
I
you
think
it's
that's
gonna happen?
I think that's a hard role.
Very.
We always talk about how hard it is to find good roles for females. That's a great role, and she has to do a million things in it. She's in a lot of scenes, and I thought she was excellent.
She's got a great horror movie face.
Yeah.
Really
like a little like how Shelley Duvall had a great horror movie face, certain people do.
Yeah.
She's great in it.
I know The Shining was for the for the filmmaker, for Ari Aster, was definitely a reference point. And that's true. They both have that kind of like when her mouth is open and she's like appalled by something, it looks terrible. You know, she looks like
she almost convulses.
Yeah.
That the person who made this, Ari Aster?
Yeah. First full-length film.
Yeah, how's that possible?
I don't know.
How old?
I think he's in his early 30s. He went to AFI. I had him on my podcast a few weeks ago. He had made a couple of short films. One of them is called The Trouble with the Johnsons, I think. And it's a very, very disturbing movie. It's about 30 minutes. It's on Vimeo if you want to watch it. And he's just one of those guys who just has been waiting 10 years to make his first movie, and he was ready.
I like some of the shots in it. Had some great horror movie shots.
Really well
Some
composed.
good like camera, the camera turns and you think the people are upside down, they're not. And the music, which we wrote a great piece about on The Ringer, which I started reading and then I realized it was going to spoil the movie and I stopped.
Yes.
But it seemed like it was really good. But the music is overpowering. Like it'll definitely get nominated, but I can't imagine anyone's going to have better music in a movie that matters more to it.
The all of the sound in general and that clicking sound that the young daughter does is like, the sound design in horror movies is so important, but that clicking sound, which becomes, I think Adam Naiman on the site wrote about how it becomes almost like the imminent sign of terror. Whenever you hear a click, something awful is going to happen. And I don't know, it's just really effective. It's really
I saw it at ArcLight, and the sound in there is just that really good. So though, if the director intended for the sound to come to your right, you'll actually hear it on the right. It's funny though, it was such an intense movie to go to, which I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And it really relied on everyone in the theater kind of shutting the fuck up.
Buying in, yeah.
And that's just not possible in 2018. You know why? Because people are assholes.
Did people talk through your screening?
No, but I had the person right behind us who was finished with the soda, but was not finished with the ice. She's going back for more ice. Oh, I think there's more ice in there. Oh, I'm going to make loud noises with the ice. And it's like, I just want complete silence with that movie. I don't want the fucking ice guy behind me.
Yeah.
And then I had the other person 2 rows behind with the popcorn and getting in. Am I done? No, I'm not gonna. I'm going to reach down from under my seat again and get more popcorn. And it's one of those movies where you're just hyper aware of everything that's going on in the theater and you can really get thrown off. I almost would have rather seen this in my house.
That's an interesting way to put it, because the movie, especially the first 90 minutes of the movie, is all about atmosphere and dread. It's not about scary.
Which is like The Shining.
Yeah, there's no like jump scares. There's nothing that shocks you for the most part, with the exception of that one scene that you're talking about. It's mostly just this impending doom. Something awful is going to happen. We're going to learn what's at the core of what's terrorizing this family. And so you don't want to hear anybody else talking. Like, you want to absorb as much of it, because every little sound matters. So I know what you mean. I saw it at a midnight screening at a film festival, and that was awesome, because those people are really respectful, and they're in it there with you. It's very similar, though, to A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place, also the huge horror hit of the year. If people talk in the theater while that movie's happening, it fucks up the movie.
Yeah.
The quietness is so important. So, in Hereditary, it's effective.
The cinema score.
Yeah.
It's been a big thing about how audiences don't like this movie as much as critics.
It got a D-, which
it's up to a D+ now.
Is it a D+ now? So
people really hated the ending, which we're not going to spoil yet. We're going to spoil at the very end of this.
I have some problems with cinema score. I think anything that attempts to like narrativize with metrics whether people like or don't like a movie is pretty much flawed. You know my stance on Rotten Tomatoes. Even Metacritic, which I think is a little bit more sophisticated with how they measure reviews, doesn't do a perfect job. CinemaScore is like a survey company, and they're grading people coming out of a movie, and it's just a question of what movie you thought you were getting versus what you ultimately got. Hereditary has actually been very, very, very successful at the box office. It's going to make $20 million in less than 10 days. This is a small movie that didn't cost a lot of money to make.
It's funny. It feels like buzz is back for movies where, you got to see that.
Yeah, it's a word of mouth
Get Out
movie.
definitely helped. Get Out had a good ad campaign too, but Get Out definitely became you got to see that. I think Lady Bird was a little like that as well.
For sure.
But the buzz is back. But buzz went away for a while now. It's because you can never decipher the good buzz from the manufactured buzz.
Yeah, I think
I think we're better at it.
It's because going to the movie theater is still like a big commitment, so you want good word of mouth on your movie. Weird. It's weird for a movie like this to have a D cinema score but have great word of mouth, but I think it does.
It was also interesting because I had multiple people leave the movie.
Oh yeah, that's not surprising. But that's common in horror movies. I mean, that's like the story of The Exorcist is the
40 minutes
walking
in,
out.
something when the thing happened,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next morning and some more stuff happened, and these two people just got up and left, and the lady like stomped out with her purse.
Do you think she was?
I don't know what movie she thought she was going to.
Yeah.
That was it. We never saw them again. And then I had another person. I had like 3 more people leave, and then at the tail end, when we were walking out, one of the people left was just sitting, waiting for her friends, like terrified, like, "Sorry, I just couldn't take it."
Wow.
So that was interesting. That doesn't happen very often.
Do you like that feeling when a movie? Because this movie's kind of punishing. Like, do
Yeah.
you like to be punished?
It's an uncomfortable movie.
Yeah.
I was rooting for it to end.
Yeah.
Usually with movies, unless you have to go somewhere, you're like, I'm really enjoying this. I hope it doesn't end. This one, I was like, please, let's get to the finish line. This is tough.
It all depends
It's
on
taxing.
what the goal is. Like, this isn't Speed, you know, or
No.
where you're just like, what a thrill ride. I mean, it's meant to feel awful, and I think it's a pretty serious movie. You know, the themes are like the things that our parents give us that are terrible,
Yeah.
and that's not the most comfortable stuff.
The music, I think, also is not a great hang after about an hour and a half.
Yeah,
it's just in your head.
strangulating. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now it's time to spoil it. So the ending.
Mm-hmm.
So please leave if you don't want the movie spoiled. This will be it. Then we're done with the podcast. The ending
Mm-hmm.
gets super weird with Payman, the fucking devil, and there's people in the treehouse, which we should have known was satanic because the lights were so red. It was pretty obvious.
The way it's
that's where
shot,
they're
the
going.
whole movie,
Yeah.
you know, it looks like Satan's home, like a
Yeah.
devil's lair. It's the only time in the movie really where we get like horror movie payoff.
Yeah.
You know, we do get the seance and the
Do we need
levitation.
naked people?
I think that's like something you believe in satanic cults do.
Yeah.
You know, that they're, for whatever reason, they're just not wearing clothes, especially all those old people.
Mm.
What'd you think of Ann Dowd? As the evil, I don't know, the extension of her mother's satanic interest.
I didn't trust her.
Mm-hmm. You know right away?
No. I felt it when she jumped on stopped the car when the car was about to leave. That was, I thought, a giveaway, but I still wasn't 100% sure. She was good.
And what about
She'll get nominated.
What about the big moment when the daughter dies?
That one I did not see coming.
Did you think that worked?
Um,
Because that's been a point of contention among some people.
I didn't understand. No, I thought that was the weakest part of the movie, actually,
Interesting.
because the boy killed his sister and was stoned, and then left the headless body in his car all night, and just went to bed. And then they were like, "Hey, how's your chicken?" Like 2 scenes later.
Yeah.
Hey, why aren't you talking? It just probably should be in jail, first of all.
Yep.
And then second of all, it was just weird that the family didn't resent him a little bit more for the whole thing.
Did you? I took that to be like a commentary on how families like don't know how to communicate with each other when terrible things have happened.
Except he should have been in jail. He should have gone to jail for what happened.
Yeah, well, could you have just said it was an accident though? I mean, I don't. You know, who's pressing charges there? Mom?
I think the police are like, you swerved to avoid a carcass. You decapitated your sister. You left her head on the side of the road, drove home and left her headless body in the car overnight.
Uh-huh.
We're going to bring you in.
Maybe. 17
That's what I
years
would have
old?
done if I was the sergeant there.
Did you think that kid was good, Alex Wolff?
So he's the kid from the Wahlberg, the Boston bombing movie.
Yes.
He was good in that movie.
Yes.
He played one of the terrorists.
Yeah.
I like that kid. I think he's a good actor.
He's a very good actor, yeah. And his
My
brother's
biggest
an
issue
actor,
is
too.
what I texted you.
Which is?
I thought Gabriel Byrne was terrible. I have never been a fan of his. I've always thought he was
What?
overrated. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
What?
Not a Gabriel Byrne fan.
Miller's Crossing?
No.
Usual
I
Suspects?
think he's the same guy in every movie. I don't think he's a good actor.
Oh my
He's
God.
a one-note actor. He's got the same look on his face at all times.
The
I
Irish
wanted-
part of Bill Simmons, your Irish heritage
That's fine.
is like
Doesn't matter. I'm only 20.
fucked up right
I'm only
now.
25%. I just think that was a great part, and the dad, I just had no feel for the dad at all, and I
I
would
think
have
that was
loved
the
to see a
point.
real actor.
He was supposed to be recessed. He was supposed to be absent. He wasn't supposed to really know how to communicate or how to bridge the gap between mother and son. And he was just this limp, neutered, weak, middle-aged man. I don't know. I thought he was good.
I thought he was
effective.
Gabriel Byrne.
Okay.
I think he would have given the same performance no matter what.
Okay.
No matter what you told him you wanted him to do for that movie.
Do you think the movie...
Give me a real actor for that movie.
A criticism I've heard of the movie is it's either a half an hour too long or an hour too short.
I thought it was too long.
Too long.
I would have gone like an hour 45.
Yeah. When I talked to Ari, he said that the first cut was 3 hours.
Oh,
and then
Jesus.
I talked to somebody else who worked on the movie, and they said that the 3 hour cut worked better. But you just can't release a 3 hour horror movie that feels that bad into theaters.
No, but they could do a cool Blu-ray.
Yeah. Extended version. I mean, I think you would have had several more fucked up scenes of like a young child cutting a dead bird's head off. I mean, there's so many images in the movie that are so awful and so uncomfortable.
I think they could have gone further with the girl who dies.
Just do more with that character.
I wasn't totally sold on how fucked up she was. They had a couple scenes, but I needed more. Like, she was clearly the future devil or whatever they were positioning her as.
Yes.
I needed a couple more things with her. I
Okay.
could have used. A couple of Damien Omen type moments.
It does have that great like psycho effect though, where you think you're getting one movie and then you get the other.
Yeah.
You know, I like to have the rug pulled out from under me.
The party's good. They're cutting the nuts with the knife, and you're like, oh, this is gonna go bad.
That's brutal.
Yeah. Also, don't bring your 13-year-old daughter to a high school drinking party. Maybe.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Don't sign off on that one, Mom.
Yeah, I liked it. There's like a new category of horror movie that I don't know if you're as into these, but like The Witch and The Babadook and what they're calling elevated horror. You know?
I thought Babadook was incredible.
Yeah.
I love Babadook.
They're all these movies are always
Didn't
about
like
families.
The Witch as much.
You know, they're always about like children betraying their parents and parents not trusting their children, and I don't know. It's an interesting moment for horror movies right now because like Get Out and Quiet Place have been these super popcorn successes.
Get Out was a thriller. I don't consider that a horror movie.
Interesting.
I like the we've talked about this before, but There's Something Wrong with the House always works for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's Something Wrong with My Child. That always works. They're just going to keep making versions of those same two movies, and they're going to keep working.
So there's a few horror movies coming out for the rest of the year. You want to talk about those real quick?
Is one of them called There's Something Wrong with the House?
They're kind of all called that. One of them is called The Nun, or There's Something Wrong with the Nun, which is a sequel to The Conjuring 2.
Yeah.
Which looks fine. There's a trailer for this week. This summer is Unfriended Dark Web.
Yeah, you saw that one. I loved Unfriended. I'm in on the sequel.
Unfriended
You told me
Dark
that
Web
my kids can't see this.
is fucked up. It's fucked up.
So-
Not in the way Hereditary is, where it's like it'll stick with you. It's more like if you spend your life on the internet the way that you and I do, it will make you feel bad about what happens on the internet.
My daughter said last night that Unfriended is still the scariest movie she's ever seen.
Okay.
That made me feel like a bad person.
Do you know what happens on the dark web?
No.
Okay, well, you'll find out July 20th.
Is that A24 or one of the other?
No, it's Blumhouse. Our friends at Blumhouse.
Oh, I'm excited for Unfriended.
And then Halloween.
This is the golden age of horror movies, or the new golden age.
It's a good time. It's a fun time.
Last four years or so have been great. And by the way, like there was a great Netflix piece that Vulture wrote a few days ago.
Yeah. Inside
great
the
in
Binge
that
Factory.
there's a lot of information.
Yeah.
I hesitate to call it like a great piece, like a must read.
It's the first time
really
we've gotten to
interesting.
look at that company that deeply.
And it's clear that they have basically Daryl Morey, Billy Beaned it with the metrics, and they can tell what works. And one of the things that they know works is horror movies. And now I know they're catering toward my habits when they go, but there's always horror movies on there. And I feel like I've either seen the ones, I've seen all the ones I've wanted to see, and I've decided that I didn't want to see the other ones. But there's so many choices.
Yeah.
And it never ends.
I watched a horror movie that wasn't as effective this week. It was the sequel to The Strangers.
You act like I didn't see it.
Okay. What did you think? It was not great.
It was awful.
Yeah. What happened there?
They threw away the first half hour. Nothing happened.
Yeah, that's so strange.
And
isn't
then it was like 50 minutes of a movie. They killed off the star right away.
What?
Oh, that was another spoiler.
Whatever. Well,
We didn't need another Strangers.
I just feel bad for Christina Hendricks. What happened? Why is Christina Hendricks not more famous, doing better things?
She's a good actress.
She's
I
a
don't
good
know.
actress. It's weird.
Why Elizabeth Moss and why not her?
It's a good question. I don't know. That's another podcast.
Yeah, when they do those movies, they do these sequels. Like they did this with The Purge too.
Mm-hmm.
You almost know they're going to be bad, but you kind of want to get it anyway. Kind of want to see it, but it's the expectations are so low. That's why I'm surprised that Unfriended is good.
Good is an interesting word. It's definitely like interesting and watchable. But I'll watch like every Purge movie because that premise is so sturdy. Like there's a new Purge movie this summer, that is the first Purge. It's like a prequel, and it'll probably be fun.
Yeah.
You know, The Strangers was such a perfect horror movie that felt like it came out of nowhere, and the attempt to like leverage.
What was the other one with Naomi Watts? That was scarier. Happy People or.
The
Australian
Games?
one, Funny Games.
Yeah, the remake of the Michael Haneke film. Yeah,
that one's pretty scarring.
That's a fucked up movie.
Yeah,
that's kind of in the Hereditary zone.
I think Home Invasion seems like the most reliably decent movie premise for horror movies, other than Something's Wrong with the House.
Yeah, I like those.
Because people can identify with that more than anything, right? Like, oh, we're at the Cape, we're having a great time. Uh-oh, somebody's at the door. That's like everybody's fear.
I'm always going to be more interested in the supernatural. I'm always more, and especially like the demonic. Shining, Exorcist, Hereditary, those are the movies that I most respond to. Because they're also like, they're very religious in a way. They're very connected to like spirituality. If you're a Catholic weirdo like me, you know, you grew up all messed up on that stuff. So I don't know. That's my favorite.
So you're
genre.
afraid of Satan is basically what we're learning.
Yeah, basically. You get that beaten into you when you're a kid.
Yeah, I'm working on a list of. I feel like I've seen every relevant horror movie ever, and at some point I'm just gonna have to rank them.
You're gonna tease that right here, huh?
At some point in my life,
okay.
Before I get beheaded when I lean out the window when I'm having a nut allergy attack.
It's a great place to go out here today.
or the home invasion finally happens, or whatever. Yeah, horror movies, they're back. I would recommend Hereditary. I would also really be careful about where you see it, would be my final recommendation.
Yeah, don't
Although
see
now
it.
at this point, nobody's listening who didn't listen to it. We told people to go away who hadn't seen it yet. But
if you're going to see it again, make sure you see it on an empty stomach.
Yeah. Okay. Sean Fennessey, thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks to ZipRecruiter. Don't forget to check out ZipRecruiter.com/BS. Thanks to Gillette. They offer a variety of shaving products for every guy, regardless of his personal style, skin needs, or budget. Whether you want 3 blades or 5, the Gillette 3 and Gillette 5 razors have you covered, all under $10. High performance, low price. Get Gillette Performance delivered to your door. Find Gillette 5 at GilletteOnDemand.com. Subscribe today. On Monday, we're going to do a big, fun mock draft thing. So be ready for that. Until then.